My sister was always the golden child. 1 year younger than me, she had a brightness and charm that drew everyone in. I, on the other hand, was quiet, introverted, and invisible. Our parents adored her. They laughed at her jokes, forgave her tantrums, and ignored me. And she thrived on it. From childhood, she made it her mission to take everything I had. Every birthday, every celebration, every achievement. She somehow became the center of attention. And I faded into the background. I remember one Christmas when we were 10 and 11. She had unwrapped the doll she'd wanted for months, jumping up and down with excitement. My parents laughed and clapped, praising her endlessly. Meanwhile, I quietly set the table, keeping the house tidy. Not a word of thanks came my way. I thought it was normal. I thought it was how life worked. Little did I know she was learning from the very start how to steal the spotlight and the life I deserved. When we turned 20, she demanded to study abroad. Our family couldn't afford it, but she threatened them with her life. She said she would harm herself if she didn't get what she wanted. And of course, they caved. I stayed behind, enrolling in a local community college, content in my quiet life. At first, I felt a pang of envy, but soon, I realized life was easier without her. I didn't have to compete, didn't have to perform for approval, didn't have to explain myself constantly. I could focus on myself. It was around this time that I met him, my husband. He was different, calm, patient, and gentle, with a warmth I had never known. From the moment he saw me, something sparked between us. He proposed not long after, and together we built a life from scratch. Long nights in a tiny apartment, working side by side, scraping together every penny, dreaming together. And slowly, painfully, we built something beautiful. A family, a home, a company we could call our own. We married and we had a son. Life was not glamorous, but it was ours. I worked full-time in our company, raised our son, managed the household, and rarely thought about myself. Every day was filled with responsibility, and yet I was happy. I had what my sister had never had: stability, love, and respect. Then, 10 years later, everything changed. She came back. My sister, broken, battered, freshly abandoned by her fifth boyfriend. I barely recognized her, though her mischievous smile was the same. She claimed she had been through so much, that life had been unfair, that she deserved happiness. But I knew her well. She hadn't been struggling abroad. She had been living a life of privilege, using her charm to get what she wanted, leaving our parents to pay for her tuition and living expenses. And now, she wanted more. She wanted what I had: my family, my husband, my son, my life. At first, it was subtle. She spent time with my son, taking him on outings I couldn't always manage because of work. She let him play games for hours, brought him treats, and whispered things only a child would love to hear. I tried to be patient, thinking it was innocent fun. But then she started paying attention to my husband. A smile here, a laugh there, a touch on the arm, a playful comment that lingered a little too long. She was testing boundaries, weaving herself into our lives, and everyone believed her. My parents, my relatives, even my husband, at least at first. "She's innocent," they said. "Don't be so harsh." But I knew better. I had grown up with her manipulations. She wasn't innocent. She was calculating. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and slowly I began to feel the walls closing in. My husband worked late nights, and she would call with excuses to visit him at the office. My son began preferring her company to mine, begging to stay with her, laughing at jokes I hadn't even made. I tried to reach out, to talk to my husband, to explain my fears. But my concerns were dismissed as paranoia, jealousy, even pettiness. I watched, helpless, as my perfect life slipped away. The woman I had raised, nurtured, and protected since childhood, who should have been my ally, became my adversary. She wanted everything I had, and she was willing to do whatever it took to get it. And then came our 10th anniversary. I had planned a secret dinner for him, just the two of us. I had spent weeks preparing it, picking the perfect place, imagining the look of surprise on his face. But when I told him, he claimed he had a business meeting. I wanted to cancel the effort, but my heart wouldn't let me. I went anyway, carrying the anticipation and excitement I had felt for months. That's when I saw them. Outside a small hotel next to the restaurant, my husband walked hand in hand with a woman. My heart stopped. I followed them quietly, my mind reeling. And then I saw her, my sister. My sister smiling at him, her arm around his waist. My chest tightened, my stomach sank, and I could barely breathe. I peeked inside, and my world shattered. They were in a hotel room, intimate, laughing, hugging, kissing. The man I had loved for a decade, the man who had promised me forever, in the arms of my sister. My sister, who had tormented me for years, now claimed the love that was mine. I couldn't stop myself from speaking. What is happening?" I whispered, my voice trembling. He turned, his eyes widening. "Why are you following me?" he asked, anger and shock in equal measure. And she, my sister, smirked. "Oh, don't be jealous," she said lightly. "You've been so strict all these years." I tried to explain, tried to make them see the truth, but my words fell on deaf ears. Everyone believed her story, that I was controlling, vicious, a woman who tormented her husband and child. And she, the cheerful, innocent girl, was the savior, the angel, the one taking care of everyone. Even my son began choosing her. She let him play video games endlessly, took him on adventures, wrapped him in affection I hadn't been able to provide. Slowly, painfully, he preferred her. My husband divorced me, and in the cruelest twist, he married her. Everything I had built, everything I had loved, everything I had sacrificed for, gone. My company, which I had poured my heart and soul into, had nothing in my name. My home, my family, my life, all stolen. I was left alone. The apartment, once filled with laughter and warmth, echoed with emptiness. The walls bore memories of love, now poisoned by betrayal. My sister smiled, triumphant, having achieved everything she had wanted. And she had. But even as the world turned against me, even as everyone I loved abandoned me, I knew one thing. I had survived before, and I would survive again. I had loved deeply, given everything, and even when life seemed cruel and unjust, I could endure. I could rebuild. Perhaps slowly, perhaps silently, but I would not disappear. The shadows of my childhood had returned to haunt me. My sister, always the golden child, had stolen my family, my happiness, my life. But I would not let her take my spirit. I would rise, alone if I had to, and find a way forward. Because even when the world chooses the charming, the cunning, and the cheerful, there is still hope for the quiet, the overlooked, and the strong. And though I was left with nothing, I still had myself. And perhaps that was enough to begin again.